Okay. I love these. How do I feel? How do I feel? How do you feel, meaning me, about IEP students being forced into hybrid models, but school staff children are allowed to come to school on their off days to be supervised by the paras whose students are in the building that day. Just found out our district is doing this, and I am furious. Need to gather my emotions and prepare for our IEP meeting on Wednesday. Oh, I guess that was. You need to ask your questions earlier. I do apologize. Hybrid will start Tuesday. Okay. I have heard of this happening, and I don't really have an answer for it. Do I think that it's right? Do I think that it's fair? Do I think it's appropriate? No, I don't. I don't, you know, I understand the logistical need to have your employees being your teachers back at work. I get that. And I get that many teachers have children of school aged. Many of the teachers have their children enrolled in the same school they teach in. I get that. Okay. And so you need your employees there. At the same time, the schools decided to do, because of COVID, hybrid, staggered days, or whatever. And at that point, if you want your employees there, then what the hell are you going to do with their kid? Can't leave them at home. Now, is it discriminatory to allow exceptions in that category in order to meet the administrative convenience and the administrative needs of the system? Yeah, I'd make that argument, and I think so. I don't think that's fair. I don't think it's right. Um, it would make me mad as well. Now, have I heard that in other places? Yes, it's happening in Alabama. I know that you're in a different state, and I would imagine it's happening all over the country in situations like that. And no, it's not right. And if they're capable, if a school is capable of providing 5 day a week services for teachers' children, even if I do absolutely understand why that's necessary, then I believe that they're more than capable of providing um, the full litany of services. But I've said this in prior videos, guys. I mean, I said this all the way back when they were announcing that they were going to allow fall sports, but then not allow kids inside the building. Still my position. Okay, none of that's changed. In fact, quite frankly, I've become even more vigilant in my opposition to these virtual only options that are out there, because I just don't think the trends are such to where it justifies a virtual option for a semester or even for 9 weeks. So these schools, let's say in Alabama, that are announcing that they're speeding up a return to the school day in a more traditional setting. I applaud them. I think that that's the right move. Schools across the country that have opened have been in session long enough, and there's usually a 2 week lag time with a spike in positive cases, and then hospitalizations and things like that end up being, if the trends are have been what they've been, it's usually a 2 week and a 2 week. From what the government and from what health experts have cited. So in looking at that data, schools have been in session longer than 2 weeks in many locations, and we're just not seeing that. We're just not seeing it. So if we're not seeing it, then I think that it's fine for us to take that next step and to have the courage to expand out. Now, my other concern when it comes to these return to the school day, I'm seeing a lot of schools, even when they're offering in-person instruction, still using the virtual learning format like Schoology. Um, and I think that the logic behind that is if the school has to close again, then everybody has a consistent program. Or let's say that a whole class gets quarantined because somebody, is reported as positive. Then at that point, the disruption in education isn't there because everybody's still working on the same, platform. Um, okay, but I don't really know if that's instruction. Now, what can you do about it? I don't know. I mean, I would not be happy about it, and I would bring that up. But then I would use that as your platform to push legitimately for expanded days, expanded services, expanded in-person services that your child would be able to attend at least 2 more days. Having that one day for deep cleaning like most schools are doing. I mean, my child goes 4 days a week. She doesn't need to go 5. So I don't have a problem with, sort of mixing it up and being flexible in schedules like that. Just keep in mind that is very good information and it's a good negotiating point. Um, at the same time, I do understand why they're doing it. But on the other hand, that also tells me that means that once again, this is a governmental decision. It's a governmental problem. It's government damage. And those of you who don't like me saying that at the end of the day, it's not the virus. It's going to be the government that is going to cause most of the damage. And I'm talking long-term damage. Not the deaths. Government doesn't do deaths. Okay, and I want to applaud all of our doctors and health professionals out there because they've done a damn good job in saving lives. They have. So, but the government has nothing to do with that. They provided resources and they've done that, but to sit there and say that people die because of the government's ridiculous. It's like saying that the economy is great because of the government. No, that's not how economies work. Government can destroy an economy, as you can see, but I don't necessarily. The only way that a government can, let's say, really help out an economy is by removing the obstacles that are preventing a, a, a free exchange of commerce and goods. Okay. So a government can kill an economy, and the only way a government can really help an economy is by removing the impediments and the obstacles for the free flow of commerce. So the thing is true in on the flip side. Can the government create more death? Absolutely. But can they save it? Mm, you know, by providing the necessary resources, but really that's the responsibility of the doctors and nursing staff and, having the right equipment, which they did. And so I think that, we should applaud our doctors and nurses. That's why I don't really like politicizing the virus. Everybody goes, oh, somebody's responsible for all these deaths. That's to discredit and not give value to what our nurses and doctors have done. And I don't agree with doing that. So on that same front, when it comes to these school decisions, we're going to be able to look back clearly in a year, maybe less, maybe 2 years. And guys, I want you to remember I said this, and this is James Galini's prediction. We're going to look at this, and it's going to be a debacle. And we're going to look at this, and hopefully we learn from it and do better next time if we ever have a pandemic, okay? And make better decisions in governmental responses to a unseen microorganism that is dangerous to people. You don't know what you don't know until you know it. So, this is my first pandemic. I don't know about you guys. I don't know where you hang out, but, I would hope that we as a society have the maturity to look at what we've done and how we've done it and make a better decision next time. So, and especially when it comes to how we've unnecessarily scared the hell out of our children, and the responses with regards to their needs. And I would hope that they would be a priority next time. They're not this time, not at all. And we failed in that capacity. And that's my viewpoint. I just think that you can use this as a negotiating tool to expand the offering in the way that you believe that your child needs. I believe that it would be a good argument to make, but I think that you're already sitting on a good argument because your child's been without services for so long. I think you're already sitting in a good argument because the FAPE violations are already there. I mean, I'd have to say the FAPE violations are there for the overwhelming majority of families in this country. So, you go in your meeting with some confidence, understanding that, and then lop this on top of it and say, look, guys, I know that, and like I said, I mean, I don't fault them. There's no other option. Their kids have got to go somewhere because they need their employees back at work. They can't have their employees at work, and since they're not on a 5-day, I get that. It doesn't mean it's right. It doesn't mean it's not discriminatory. It doesn't mean that the school couldn't do more for our most vulnerable kids and the ones that need it now. So keep that in mind. Just because I understand doesn't mean that I accept the justification as to why you can't do it for me.